Mhm.
Welcome to the Luxury Travel Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Angela Hughes, and I'm bringing you the secrets to success for growing your luxury travel business. Tune in today as I share my personal experiences as a luxury travel marketing and business strategist and provide you the tools to build and scale your own thriving business. Together, we're going to explore the ins and outs of the travel marketing industry. Come on in and enjoy the ride today. We have with us the Condé Nast Ukraine specialist, Sophia Kulich of Sophia's Travel. And we are talking so many things today about heritage and Jewish tourism and a little bit about her love, Ukraine as well. So welcome to the show today, Sophia. Tell me how you are doing. Why don't you introduce yourself first of all, and then we're going to talk about the situation in Ukraine.
Hi, Angela. Thank you for having me. My name is Sophia Kulich, and I am a travel designer with experience almost 30 years. And I own and operate Sophia's Travel. This is sophiastravel.com. That's my own company where I specialize on bespoke itineraries for individuals and small groups, but my true passion is heritage, and I will be talking about this today, especially Jewish heritage. I'm originally from Ukraine, and I left the country in '82 because of it was not Ukraine. It was I just want to make distinction. It was Soviet Union, and we fled from persecution of Jewish people. So that's kind of led me to concentrate more on the heritage and my personal experience. That's how, which led to the creation of my brand, Jewish travel, heritage travel. It's called JewishTravelAgency.com.
And this is such kind of almost a sad story because we started talking about 8 months ago about doing a fam trip to
Yeah,
Ukraine.
yeah.
And that's how this video even started. We didn't know 8 months ago we'd be in this situation with Russia. Talk to me a little bit about your feelings being a Ukrainian and being a specialist in that area, although you specialize in many parts of Europe, but your heart and your love is really with the Ukraine people.
Yeah.
And it's such a tragedy today. Let's talk about how you're feeling about that personally, and then how it's impacting
Personally,
business.
again, I'm by nationality. I'm not Ukrainian. I'm Jewish, which just happened to live in Ukraine. And at that time, it was Soviet Union, which persecuted Jews. Right now, it's Ukraine, independent, democratic country, and since I think since '93, Ukraine became independent, and that we started concentrating on going back to Ukraine and work with local suppliers, local people to bring people to Ukraine, and all clients which we took mostly for Jewish heritage trips, regular trips, or I led myself in 2018. I led myself a group of small group of people to Ukraine, and everybody was just so excited. They loved the country. They understood that the country is not anti-Semitic anymore. The country had Jewish president. The country led by young people, like consider as me, younger than us, and this was really a fresh air in Europe. So everybody loved it. So that was in 2018. It was last time we've been there. I worked with Asta on a Asta fam trip for 2020, but then, as you know, COVID started, so we canceled it, and then actually worked with Bob Duglin, and he was very enthusiastic for that. And then after COVID, I contacted Asta again, and they still were not sure. But right now, of course, this is not the time to go to Ukraine. And I could tell you that we have. It was our best seller until 2019. We've done a lots of heritage trips. We've done a lots of cultural trips, and I have amazing team there. My business partner is he's actually was retired colonel of Ukrainian army, and right now he's on the front. He's defending Kiev, so we do pray for his safety, for safety of the president, and for Ukrainian people who are putting a good fight against aggressor. So
That's incredible. Your business partner's right there on the
yeah,
line fighting right now.
yeah, this
I
is scary too. Yeah.
Yeah, I just can't imagine the anxiety that you're feeling right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I'm checking like we're on the WhatsApp all the time, but I don't want
Yeah.
to bother him because, as you know, he's busy. But I'm getting very, very nervous when I see that he was not even online. So this is really, it's been like really hard week. And
So how are you doing personally with first COVID and then this now as an addition? I mean, I think we're all on edge with what tourism is going to look like in Europe this year. What's your
Mhm.
personal feelings? How are you doing? And then the second question is, how do you feel like it's going to impact European tourism this year?
Well, do you mean personally or business?
Well,
Business.
let's go personally first.
Right. Okay. Well, personally, of course, like everybody else, was very tough during the COVID when everything was closed, and that was one time. Usually we're used to situation like natural disasters, political disaster. We were out clients to different destinations, but COVID was everywhere. So of
Yeah.
course that was depressing. I don't have to tell advisors that was really bad for any destination. And then 2021 got a little bit better. I got a lots of bookings to Greece and Iceland. Countries started to open up. Of course, you and I, we've met in personally in ALTM in France, and everybody was so excited that we could travel again, and it was a great event. But then, we had some issues with Omicrons. People get stuck; they could not come back to United States. So, but I could tell you that 2022 started really well for the rest of the Europe. We still were not sure about Ukraine because I do have inside information. We knew that invasion going to happen or attack, but we don't know how bad it's going to be. Nobody knew, and so we did not really promote because we have quite a few clients from 2020. During the COVID, we provided this tour virtually for them. Yeah, so that was really good. They were so happy, and they could see what they would have seen on location, and then they were looking forward to come in 2021 and then in 2022. So right now I'll receive a lot of support from them and emails and how is going on site. So, but the rest of the Europe so far, bookings are fine. It's been actually a good month for us to mostly Central Europe and Western Europe. It was fine, and of course diversification is a good thing, and Jewish heritage is like, I would say, like it could be South America, it could be like Cuba.
Okay, let's talk about the Jewish travel for a minute because
Okay.
this is what I want our viewers to know right now is you don't have to be Jewish to sell Jewish travel. I have so many Jewish friends from living in the Northeast that's why I wanted Sophia on our show because I'm Christian, but yeah, I could easily sell Jewish travel and they're still looking for good people who sell travel. But as I see it, Jewish people like to use, and they like to travel with their own people. And they love to do heritage tours, just like I'm in family history as well as a Christian.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and there's so many people, even if you're not Jewish, heritage tours are so hot right now because of the ancestry and the genealogy
Yes.
and the history research.
Right.
And then just for anybody who's interested in the history, World War II history, any of the Jewish history. For one, I like love Poland. I think it's fascinating to go
Yes.
there. It changed my whole life when I visited Poland. So let's go into your presentation. You have a lot to teach us about how people can get into heritage tourism, but I want to make it really clear. You don't need to be Jewish. You don't need to have an ancestry of Judaism. You could be selling this niche and it's super hot right now. I'm working with another client that I privately consult right now who's in family history. And This is such a draw for people. People want to know who they are, where they've come from, and they want to know more. And like my own daughter is like, oh my gosh, she just said to me this morning when I told her that you were going to be on the show, she was like, oh, we should have gone to Poland before this week, you know? And I was like, you can
Yeah.
still go to Poland. This is not, you know.
Yeah, I have a slide on Poland, so we'll
Yeah,
go through
yeah.
that.
And I'm like, we could still go to Poland. It's not an issue.
Yeah.
So, okay, let me go ahead and bring your presentation onto the stream here. And I'll let you go ahead and control that from your end. And let's get talking about what you are doing. So is
Okay.
Sophia's Travel and the Jewish Travel Agency the same agency or two separate things?
It is the same company. It just, I would say Jewish Travel Agency is a brand, but
Okay.
Sophia's Travel, it's, if you're not Jewish and you just want to do like cultural any experience or cultural immersion, that's Sophia's Travel. Jewish Travel Agency, it just targeted clients, and I have slides here, Sophia's Travel website reference.
Right.
And
Mhm.
JewishTravelAgency.com, just separating different things, because, like, for example, uh, if you're not Jewish, we still, like Angela said, there's lots of, still my company fits for you. We did have non-Jewish clients traveling in my groups, but if somebody is kosher or whatever, that's probably not interest to you, then they could find it under Jewish Travel Agency. So
Right.
it's just separation of brands. Again, about myself, I started a little bit. I was born in Ukraine. I immigrated to US in 1982, and I lived in Europe before coming to USA. We went to Austria, and then we lived about 1 year in Italy before coming to USA. So I do. Italy is one of my favorite adopted countries, because when we were poor, we were refugees. I know what refugees are. We lived in Italy, and people were very kind to us. When I was growing up in Soviet Union, I we in Soviet Union, people did not were not allowed to travel. So whatever, if you for people who were interested like myself in different countries, different lands, we could only watch it on TV. And while growing up and watching on TV, I always earned for traveling, and we could not do this. After we immigrated, then after living in Italy, I got that experience. And when I came back to USA, of course, I have to work to make a living. I was lucky enough to get a good position with my education in GE Corporate. It was a good company to work for. I traveled internationally as well. I was in Italy on one project, coming as a business traveler, so I saw it from different perspective. But Italians still were very kind and fun. And then I decided to pursue my passion, travel. And I started traveling mostly to Europe. And then I wanted to sell travel. So I opened my own boutique travel agency in 1993. And first, like most travel advisors in 90s, I tried to sell everything of travel. And then I found out that to succeed, you need to stand out. You need to you need to sell what you love, and you need to follow your passion. And I at that point, I knew that my passion is Jewish history. So I was coming back to Europe, and every time I was drawn to synagogues, to Jewish communities, Holocaust site, memorials, and of course, was besides regular sightseeing. And this is how I developed this knowledge. And based on my personal knowledge of Eastern European culture, history, personal experience, for example, my grandfather was killed, not died, killed in Holocaust and Babi Yar in Kiev. So that was really personal to me, and this is how I started doing research, helping other clients. And once Ukraine became stable, it started with Ukraine, and we did send a lots of clients, and this is how Jewish Heritage brand was born. And let's go next slide. Again, continue. Yeah, I don't want to repeat myself, but again, personal knowledge of Eastern Europe, and our trips are not regular vacations in Europe. Of course, we include whatever clients want and some entertainment and general highlights, but we build life-changing experience. We
Now,
cannot.
there's already been a question here. Um, Somebody said Jewish travel is very specific, not only ancestry, also religious and dietary restrictions need to be a part of the itinerary, not just for sightseeing. Do your tours take care of the whole package that way?
As I said, I provide private tours, and it's customized to each client. A specific there's two types of Jewish clients. There are some like myself, just cultural, like but I'm not observant. I eat everything, and I do travel on Shabbat. But we do have clients who needs kosher meals. We have clients who do not travel on Shabbat, and we also have clients, for example, the clients who are observing, they would not even open door with electric keys. They could open door. I know it's strange, but they could open door with a regular key. Like the key was a turn, but not electronic. So we do. We do have experience with that. For such clients, we know which hotels they will be comfortable with. And about meals, we usually help them with meals delivery. I had groups of our clients are not just Americans and Canadians. I mean, I have a group of kosher clients. It was a school group from Hong Kong, for example, and they were traveling to Spain, and we arranged for them kosher meals. It was not easy, but that was, that we had groups which were kosher, and we arrange for them kosher meals. We arrange, they do not travel on Shabbat, and we work with local Jewish community. Actually, kosher or not kosher Jewish clients, they like to spend Friday night with Shabbat and with Jewish community. It's really a special experience. And so that's take care. Yes, to answer your question, yes, we do. I do have slides for that later, but it's and another thing is why. So this is the people call it as a trip of lifetime, to trace footsteps of our ancestors. And why do you need a specialized guide? Besides doing research in advance, when the people come, you do need a guide, because in some cemeteries we need to find graves. Sometimes, if it's in Hebrew, or Yiddish, you need to translate. They need to translate inscription. The former villages can be empty fields today. Some sites right now allocated. Some could be tombstone or memorial to the massacre site, and it's located right now on some people's property. So we do need to have permissions. We need to have permission. If there is a movie. It's called, and I recommend people to read it. And there's also a book. It's called "Everything Is Illuminated." It's about, with Elijah Wood, how he goes. When his grandparents died, he goes to Ukraine and trying to find out the roots. And it's actually tragic comedy. And he navigates in really actually bad conditions, like with almost blind. It's like a comedy. It's a blind driver, a semi-blind driver with the dog, and he's allergic with the dog. So what I'm just saying, he does find what he was looking for. I will not spoil you, but he. What I'm just saying, we provide the same, better experience with heritage, but in a very good conditions. We really pay attention to details and arrange all logistics. We have excellent guides, drivers, comfortable cars, Mercedes V. So our clients travel as travel well, and they could experience their heritage. So that's why in these countries it's not that easy to do it by yourself, in the countries of Eastern Europe. Here are some photos I put together about experiences our clients have. In the top, sorry, I need to go back. I guess I cannot click on that. Okay, I'll just show. Can you see, Angela, can you see my mouse?
Mhm.
Okay. In the top left, it's a photo of the client, four people who came to Ukraine, and they contacted us and they said, okay, here is a very little village. It's called Shtetl, and this is where our ancestors are from. And they did escape during Holocaust. So my partner, we found out the village, really not much there. So my partner went there and started talking to people. It was about like 6 months before they came when we started doing research. Talk to people, talk to the local community and the mayor of the town. And so Ukrainians were very enthusiastic that Americans coming to visit it, and and there's a connection there. So it was really a really interesting project, and here you could see that the whole town with the mayor came to to meet them. So yeah, so they said that was really amazing. On the right we have a client with his teenage daughter, and they're taking picture of the town. It's Uman in Ukraine, where his ancestors left about 100 years ago. And because we had teenager and we did not really emphasize on the horrors on the war, everything, we needed to do something better, something more interesting for the teenager. And we contacted local school, and they spent a half a day in the local school with the teachers and teenagers at the girls age. And that was really interesting experience for the kid to find out how her the teenagers of her age live in Ukraine. And here's the example on the left. Here's an example of a like cemetery which is overgrown. There was a big project going on in the cemeteries of Ukraine, also sponsored by American organizations and European organizations that tried to restore. But like I said, you have to find the place. You have to sometimes get permission to the place, and and then maybe you'll find your grave. Maybe you don't, but at least you
So,
walk.
Sophia, I've got a question for you. I mean, are most people interested in just the towns, or do they actually want to see the graves and the paperwork?
Both. We
Okay.
do, like, sometimes people want to find the graves of the people of their ancestors, and they tell us where they live. We try to do this. It's not possible. I would say success rate is slow. I mean, it's small. I mean, we do not really have a lots of success, but then they're really happy to walk in the town where their ancestors were. Like, for example, like these examples on the top left and the right. And here I am with a group, like on the bottom picture is I'm with a group of I took clients to Baltics. um, and this is a little shtetl in Lithuania, and that was a town where their ancestors came from. Of course, we don't know it's a street or this is a house, but at least they knew that somewhere here in this little village their ancestors lived.
Now, are you always traveling with the people?
No, I will get to this like a little bit later, but I do, but not always. Obviously, I cannot be
Okay.
everywhere.
Okay. Yeah, obviously you can't go.
Yeah, this is this slideshow. This was one of our successes. Then we had client 6 people, 3 brothers and their wives, and their mother was elderly. She could not travel. She was saved during the war by Ukrainian woman, and she lived on her farm. The woman hid her as treated her as her own daughter, and there also were some siblings. So basically, she lived there for 3 years. And then after that, she was able to, after the war, she back to US, and she told the story to her sons, and her sons asked us if we could find them. I mean, they know the village, they know the farm. We could not really find results were not successful until my local contact there said, let's try one more thing. I'm going to put ad in the local newspaper. And then somebody replied. This woman was already uh, passed away. That's the one who adopted the girl, but her son, who grew up with her, he was alive. So basically, this family says that we found extended family in Ukraine, adoptive family of our mother, and this is the reception they have. This is also that was giving me creeps, like goosebumps, not creeps, goosebumps. Yeah.
Don't you
So
always feel
that's
though, when you're working with family history and genealogy and heritage, that miracles happen? I do.
yeah, yeah. But again, we tell people keep low expectations.
Low expectations, but I in my heart have high expectations because I know that
Yeah.
I feel like God brings people together.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Besides heritage research, of course, there is a cultural explorations, and on the left side you could see me with my group having tea in a village in the Armenian mountains. These people are called Molokhans. They were expelled from Russia by Catherine the Great. It's kind of like our Amish people. They live very like down to earth life, and so that was really interesting experience. And um, we talk to them how would they live without, well, they do have electricity, but they don't use computers, like very, very down to earth. So that was, everything is organic, local, sourced right there. So that was in Armenia. On the right side, on the top, we were in Georgia, in Uzhgili village. This is one of the top mountain village in Caucasian mountains in Georgia. And we went to school there, and we brought school supplies to children, and these children were so appreciative. I wish I could bring teenagers there
Right.
to see how they yeah, different. On the
Well, that
left,
is such a good idea. Have you done teenage, like, younger people Jewish tours for?
our demographics are mostly like when we have a group, we take it's people like my age and 50s, 70s. But like you see, we had like one client who brought us, we have multi-generational too. We had one client who brought a daughter with him. So we might, but it depends if we could find clients who are interested, instead of going to Paris, going to mountain village in Georgia, it's like, but
It's just so
still, I
important
would
to
say
integrate
people will
children
have,
into.
teenagers will love it no matter what. And here's the synagogue in Georgia on the left side, and here's our members of our group with rabbi of, I believe it was rabbi in Yerevan, Armenia.
Okay.
So for this work, I've been awarded of by Travi Gold Travi award. I'm a top 25 travel agent selected by Travel Agent Magazine,
Mhm.
and since 2020, unfortunate time, but I'm Condé Nast specialist in Ukraine, and I will be Condé Nast specialist of Ukraine, and we hope that this we will be using this destination and bring people. We hope so soon. We're suppliers of Asta, and also my company is a member of prestigious international organization of small GMCs and tour operators. It's called XO Private. XO Private, they classify as masters. So there's masters, like hotels are masters on sleeping, and we are masters of experience. So XO Private, it's mostly like small companies like Unique, which doing what I do.
Yeah. So just so you know, if you're watching today, she's stocked with accolades, experience, and then to have that XO private designation behind her as well as Condé Nast. Sophia is not just your average ordinary advisor. She's got things going, people.
Yeah, I have connections. And again, I already answered. I have a slide on that, but I already answered the question about the Jewish clients. Like, we know hotels near synagogues. We could help with kosher food, and in some cases, we were also ask staff to open the doors because they could not open the door on Shabbat. So, yeah.
Okay, so for us who aren't really up on our Jewish lifestyle, Shabbat is kind of like the Sabbath, right?
Right,
On that
right.
day.
It starts
Okay.
on Friday night after sunset. and it ends on Saturday night after sunset. So this time, uh, Jews do not, observant Jews, they do
Okay.
not travel. If you're flying them, you have make sure that, because with flight delay, whatever, it could be something. Most of them like to fly on Thursday and arrive Friday morning. LL, for example, Israel Airline, they do not fly on Friday anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then kosher food, they need to have it anyway, but usually they like to stay near, because they could they do not drive on Shabbat, but they could walk, and we could do walk-in tours. Obviously, museum and synagogues will be closed, and but we could be just a rest day. Sometimes everybody needs a rest,
Right, right, right.
or like a walk-in tour. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, again, Jewish travel is my special interest and passion, and Jewish itineraries could be the ones which I provide. They could be either land-based, people go like for a few countries and spend time in the countries. Could be also cruise-based. For those of you who sell cruises, we could arrange pre and post cruise. We could also do cruise
Okay, so
excursions.
stop there for just a minute. So are you talking like if they're doing a river cruise and then they want to
Yeah.
do a pre
Yeah.
and post
Yes.
3 days in Budapest or Prague or
Yeah,
somewhere?
they could spend few days in Budapest before, and again, we provide hotel transfer, sitting with whatever, doesn't have to be Jewish, could be like anything what clients needs. And during the cruise, on a river cruises, excursions included, but it's mostly like small walking tours. But if you need like specific exploration, we could also provide. Most of our clients are on ocean cruises. Ocean cruises, like, let's say, you're in Greece and in Athens. And in Athens, we take them to with Jewish guide. We take them to synagogue, memorial, and maybe have lunch in a kosher restaurant if they're interested. So we could do either activities in ports, or we could do pre and post. So think about it. If you don't have enough commission from the cruise lines, we could.
So tell me a little bit what a non Jewish heritage trip looks like.
Okay, yeah, non-Jewish. That's actually my last statement on this slide. Non-Jewish heritage. It doesn't have to be Jewish heritage. I mean, because we have researchers, they could research any heritage. For example, I had clients from UK who was looking for information on their father, who was a POW in Munich, in a POW camp. So we found, connected her with a museum, and museum actually now has exhibit on this client. It could be, we've done this area, Eastern Europe. It's really been, as you know, Angela, it's been changed during, before the war, after the war, during the Soviet time. The countries, people were displaced all the time. So like, there were German people, for example, who were displaced after the war because Soviets kicked them out to Poland, so that's, and they live, no, they lived in Poland, but after the war, they had to leave and they went to Germany. So, but their ancestry is Polish. We had Italians who just were looking for not much of the war information, good for them there, but still, some. I mean, we've done some Italian heritage for the clients who were in a small village in the Amalfi north of Amalfi Hills. Ukrainians heritage in Ukraine. We had and also, like, for example, people who are Catholics in Poland. Like we have even, like, this is not specific heritage where they lived, if they are not looking for it, but for example, following the steps of Pope John Paul II, because he was born not far from Krakow. So we start where he was born, and then took them to Wrocław, a beautiful town with canals, like almost like Venice. And then also there are some Catholic pilgrimage sites, for example, like Częstochowa in Poland, which is Madonna, where people come and ask for healing. So I
I
mean,
absolutely
Catholic.
love Poland. I've got a question for you. Do you feel like people can be successful if they are not Jewish in selling Jewish related tourism?
They can. I could work with them. I'm very, I'm very easy to work with them. And again, our audience right now is travel advisors. But on my Jewish heritage trips, I did have like Christians, and because they were just interested in Holocaust, and but
I'm
yeah,
actually
they
so
could be,
interested in that.
yeah.
So tell me, so the advisors that you've been working with that have been successful, what ways are they marketing your tours to the general public? Are they already coming with a Pied Piper in place? Or how are they getting the word out to people that they can specialize in this?
Well, because they know that we specialize in Jewish heritage tours, and if the advisor is not Jewish and does not have like connection, and but they had a client, they usually have a client who said, okay, well, I want to go to Poland, but I have that really specific in Poland. I want to go to this village. That's where my ancestors came from, and they just said, oh my God, what should I do? And they Google Google and find me. So this is how when they have something like request from Jewish clients which they're not familiar with. That's how they found it. Now, Angela, you have audience. They don't have to Google me. They could just contact me. So there was this is private tours, but when we'll go to the in other slides, I will show you that I've done fem trips, and the fem trips I took advisors, and then we didn't have enough advisors, so we just allowed to regular clients, consumers came in, and we visited these countries, and it's actually, I call it cultural exploration, because like sadly there's a lots of Holocaust sites, but we're trying to, I mean, when we travel, we're flexible. We see people really get kind of bogged down with a lots of like, you cannot go to concentration camp every day, something. So we
This
do.
list. Okay, we've got this list here. And if we would have talked 4 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
now
Yeah.
now I feel like we're a little okay. So 4 months ago, we would have looked at this list and said, amazing, these are all really big
Yeah.
emerging destinations for us.
Mm-hmm.
With this Ukrainian Russia moment going on, war going on, and we don't want to downplay that at all. How is that going to impact other areas like Georgia, Armenia, the
I
state?
don't think see Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Central Asia. These are the countries on the Silk Road.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is, you fly most of the time. You fly on Turkish Airlines, and from there you just continue to Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and so they're pretty much far, I could say, from Europe and
And do you
Central
feel like they're going to
Asia.
be impacted though, because Americans don't know their geography and they, tend to think that something going on in Syria is impacting something in Poland. I mean, we really
Well,
don't know our geography.
there could be some questions again, but we'll explain to them. Of course, Ukraine, like out of this list, for example, I was not selling. I just put it on just as my expertise, but I was not selling Belarus since last year when they hijacked the plane, and this is Belarus is really. And even my supplier, my partner in Belarus, he told me after COVID, because I did have clients who were waiting to get to Belarus since 2019. And
Right.
he said, we have to wait for a few years. So if there's just, people on the ground, tell me, I mean, don't send people to Belarus. Again, I stopped selling Russia by obvious reasons in
Well, what
2020.
about the Baltics though? And I mean,
Baltics are
I was
okay.
planning August trip to Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, which I love.
Yeah.
And then obviously up into Russia, which I won't be doing now, and I've done Russia before. But how
Right.
do you feel like
Yeah.
that's going to impact the Baltics, especially with Baltic?
Well, I would say again, this is up to everybody's comfort. This is like advisors right now asking, should I go to Hungary, Budapest, or should I not go to Budapest,
Yeah,
like in March?
right.
So Baltics are independent countries. They're members of NATO. When I was in Baltics, I think it was 2017. There was a lots of NATO soldiers, for example, in the countryside of Estonia. So again, you might not be comfortable, but we'll see. Right? Look, Angela, a few weeks ago I would say yes. Right now, I don't know. This week, I
It's
don't
so
know.
hard. I mean, I'm even, the funny thing is, I have a high tolerance for, I've
Mhm.
wandered to a lot of places that probably aren't overly safe in my
Yeah.
lifetime.
Mhm.
You guys really have to dial in on your client and not advise
Yeah.
them with your advice, because my advice would be like, sure, you're probably not going to have a problem, but your answer to your clients should be, hey, whatever you're comfortable with. I think that
Exactly. And
Sophia
this,
said it
yeah,
best. We never tell people it's safe
right.
or not safe. That's such
Exactly.
a
Right.
liability
Mhm.
issue for advisors. And like I said, my tolerance level is quite high. I started traveling right after COVID, even
Right.
to 20 countries. So as an advisor, you guys out there listening, it's always got to be your client's choice. That's going to help your
Yeah.
liability to stay neutral. And then obviously, this is the same problem we had in the former Yugoslavia region, a decade ago, which
Hmm.
now look a decade later, how hot Croatia,
Right.
Montenegro, all of
Yeah.
those countries
Hmm.
are again. So we're going to be on the mend. We just don't. It's too early to tell really how this is going to
Exactly.
impact the Baltics.
Yeah.
We should have another dialogue in a couple of weeks to see where we are.
Yeah. The
A
same
little
with Moldova. Yeah. Moldova is the neighbor of Ukraine. And I was there. I mean, it's a small country. It's very beautiful scenery. It has amazing wine. Europeans know that Moldova is the wine destination, but right now I'm not sure, because once, like, right, it's very close to Ukraine, and already Transnistria, part of Moldova, is part of Russia.
how do you feel about Poland? I mean, I
Poland is
love
member
Poland
of
so much.
NATO. Poland, like Baltics, they're member of NATO. There's troops. There's American troops there right now, from what I hear on the news, and for humanitarian, for humanitarian reasons, and there's NATO troops. So Poland, I do have a client who is going to Poland in reschedules from 2020, and they're going to Poland in April. And so far, they did not cancel. I'll probably get in touch with them at the end of April and the end
Right.
of March, and see how he's going. But right now, if people are really concerned, I would say Caucasus, beautiful countries, not expensive. Central
Right.
Asia, Uzbekistan, yeah. Um, let's see. And again, continuation of we already talked about it: Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary, former Yugoslav countries. So that's a little bit further from the Ukrainian country. And so far, Western Europe been selling really good.
Okay, so these are
Italy,
all destinations in addition that you're doing
yeah,
besides the
yeah.
countries that
Mhm.
feel a little iffy right now.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Like, for example, I don't sell everything. Even during the COVID, I was not selling USA, because honestly, I know Europe more than I know USA, except like area where I live. Oh, I lived. But like, for example, I don't really sell Caribbean. And I sell Europe, Middle East. That's something I'm familiar with, and and I think it's a big area. There's it's enough for diversification. And right now, I mean, we do have lots of bookings, knock on wood, to Italy, France, Spain, and Portugal. Spain and Portugal, it's Sepharad Cultural Trail. That's
I
Sephardic
guess in
food.
my uneducated mind, I wasn't putting so many Jewish people like in Italy and in Malta, some of these,
Uh,
states.
Italy, yes, yes. There is a Rome, Trastevere in Rome, with not as much as like in Poland, for example, but Jews live there. Venice has Geta in the
Mhm.
Rome has Trastevere, and Venice has Cannaregio. So it's like, yeah, Florence has synagogue. So there is enough opportunities for Jewish traveler.
What
Uh,
about Czech? I don't see Czech on your list, and
Check,
I'm
yeah,
surprised
it
about
was
that.
actually on the previous slide, but I will
Oh, there
have,
we go.
I have
Okay.
like later on, I'll have few itineraries, and check will be there. Yeah.
Yeah, I would feel like
Malta,
Czech would be so
Malta
helpful.
is, if you have clients on a cruise, Malta is basically just has Jewish community, and they're not very open. They do not like visitors, just right, but we do have connections with them, and we could arrange a visit to Jewish community of Malta.
Okay, so let me talk about this for a minute. If someone's doing a shore excursion, could you cater to just a day trip then?
Yes, we've done it for Malta.
Yeah.
Not
And
just for Jewish people, but for the non-Jewish clients, because we have connection also to the Malta royalty.
I
Yeah, we
love
could
that whole
provide
idea
special.
because you really could tie in a couple of these countries on a river cruise or an ocean cruise.
Yes, yes, that's what I mentioned. Yeah, for the cruise, yeah, it's also significant part of our business. Austria, like Austria, Vienna. If you people saw and or read the book "Woman in Gold," how Austrian Jews lived before Holocaust, and also Austria is just beautiful. Vienna is beautiful city by itself.
Right, right.
Uh, like going to Middle East. Of course, in Israel, we sell both Jewish and Christian tours, private tours. Egypt, I know Angela, you know Egypt well.
Oh, I know Egypt well. I've
Besides,
been living there. Yeah.
well, yeah, besides general sites like pyramids, Cairo, Nile cruise, but there's also we include the synagogues of Cairo and Alexandria. And Morocco, very popular actually, and this is right now the destination which it opened after COVID. I have clients for January which moved to May, and Morocco has amazing Jewish heritage and people are very friendly, and it's so ancient communities in Tangier, Fez. Casablanca is European, more like a French city, but
Yeah.
also beautiful.
Now I've been
Marrakesh.
to Morocco and I didn't even think to put that together with Jewish heritage.
Oh yes, yes, big. Yeah, I do have itineraries actually on my Jewish travel website, and of course,
Mhm.
you know, a desert luxury camp. It's a must.
Right, for sure.
Right. And here I put together. We already talked about it, but we could go quickly. Like some of our popular itineraries, like for example, Baltics, three countries: Lithuania, Latvia on the south, Latvia in between, and Estonia on the north. They could go like either Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, or vice versa, depending on your flights. And they do have rich Jewish heritage. Besides Jewish heritage, they have like other cultural immersions, beautiful scenery. If your clients say Scandinavia is expensive, then try Baltics. It's also Northern European countries. For cruise excursions, we provided excursions in Tallinn, Riga, Klaipeda. Riga has beautiful Art Nouveau
Yeah.
architecture.
Mhm.
Uh,
And how are
yeah,
you feeling about this area right now? I mean, like I said, this was kind of my area for the summer.
yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? Is it too close for comfort or what's your feelings?
Like I said a week ago, I would said it's fine for my comfort. I would probably go right now as well, but
Yeah.
it's a little bit like for the last 4 days, it's a little bit tension in the air. But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
people.
you and I are two of a kind. We're like, hey, someone get
Yeah,
us a
maybe we should
over
try
even
to
though
get a fan trip, see who goes with us. Yeah, there is actually a very interesting community of Jews Karaites. This is they're like they practice Judaism. They're in Lithuania and Trakai. They practice Judaism in different way, and but still, it's we visit their synagogue where when we take clients there. Also, if your clients have more time, it combines very well with Finland. For example, we took
Yeah.
ferry from Estonia, Tallinn. It's about, I think, like 1.5 or 2 hours ferry, and you're in Helsinki. So it's really, yeah, so this is really good, three countries together. Now Ukraine, we stand with people as Ukraine. It's really like really hard times for them and for us. It was our bestseller until 2019.
What do you
And
think the recovery is going to be for Ukraine? Just, I mean, it's too early to tell, but
well, right now, what I'm seeing on the TV and I follow on Twitter, I mean, they did destroy lots of. Well, they didn't destroy cultural landmarks, but lots of buildings, civilian buildings, are destroyed.
right.
But I would, I mean, I see that there's a big support, so we hope something like a Marshall Plan will be and done.
Yeah.
And once Ukraine, I mean, this is very resilient people, and with help of the West, they should be rebuilding in a few years, I would say, and make it even better than it was before. And just to tell you about
Well,
different
and
cities.
the good thing is, Sophia, I feel like just, in despite the war, now everybody knows where Ukraine is on a map. So
Yes,
once
yes, exactly.
it's
Yeah,
going, I feel like the emergence could be gigantic for them because now you put it on a world
right,
stage,
right,
and once it rebuilds, it's going to be hot. If we can
right.
get past this.
And they see how this people of the country, how they want to be European, and they were European. I mean, in
Mhm.
last time I was there 2018, and my group was like amazed how friendly people are. The
I
great
wish we would have gone 6 months ago when we first started talking.
well, well, it was COVID then, we
Yeah,
didn't
it was
want to.
COVID then. Geez, if it's not one thing, it's
I
another.
know, yeah, yeah. So let me tell you, like few cities, since we're talking about Ukraine. Kiev is the capital, and it's here. You probably know, on the north. Kiev is a Slavic city. It has beautiful cathedrals. It
Now, do
was
we know if the
founded.
cathedrals have been bombed? Do we have any word on the?
Cathedrals, no, 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 not yet. Thank
Not yet.
God.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was like second or third century. It's very ancient. It's older than the Moscow.
Okay.
Moscow and the Russia. Before Russia was founded, Kiev, it was called Kievan Rus. Kiev was there. So you could see this like a Slavic influence, of very Slavic city, very beautiful. Then on the west we have Lviv, and Lviv was joined Ukraine only before in the 1940s, before the World War II. And so as a result, it was part of Poland and was Habsburg in Austro-Hungarian Empire. So you could see all this architecture, the same architects which you could see buildings in Vienna, the same architects build buildings in Lviv. So it's very beautiful. Then we go like near Romanian border. It's also a beautiful western city, Chernivtsi. Chernivtsi, also Austro-Hungarian Empire. And of course, they still have this culture, coffee houses and, food, which is more like Western, not like Slavic.
Yeah.
Then we have Odessa. Odessa is a very dear city to me,
Popular.
but not
Mhm.
not because it's like I got I got I fell in love there. I got married there. I lived there before we left for United States. But it is a beautiful city. I took a group there, and my traveler said that was the best city. I mean, we enjoyed it. It's completely different from other cities which I told you, because it was planned city. It was built by Catherine the Great in
Right.
I don't remember exactly, 1700, 18th century. It was decree. It has a date when the city was founded, and she invited the best architects from Spain, Italy, and France. As a result, and they ruled the city in 18th, 19th century. And as a result, you see beautiful Mediterranean architecture, and it's completely different from other cities. So Ukraine is very diverse. As for nature, we have Carpathian Mountains from the between West and Kiev, and Carpathian Mountains is like very beautiful nature, and hiking in summer and skiing in winter. So that's Ukraine, and we really hope that we will be able to send people there in the
Right.
future.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm. Another popular itinerary, we discussed it a little bit. This is Prague, Vienna, Budapest. It
Yeah.
could be for
So
river cruise.
popular, you guys. This is your bread and butter right here, right now.
Yeah.
That you could sell easy in a hot minute to
Mhm.
any religion, to any person.
Oh yeah,
I feel like
definitely.
this is so
Right.
fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically, if your cruise starts in Hungary, this is for cruise passengers, for example. Hungary, then before Hungary, you could go to Vienna, and you could go. Basically, it's like Vienna. Uh, I mean, Prague, Vienna, Budapest. In between, we also had Slovakia. It's a really neat little town with a castle, Also some Jewish history, but we spent there a day, and I think it was enough. I mean, I could have stayed longer. So all these three is very easy to do it together or separately. We usually transfer clients by car, so we could see something on the way. And of course, there's a Jewish history, Art Nouveau architecture.
Now, real quick, I mean, I know you're doing the tours and everything, but do you also have a portfolio of hotels that you could help people with along the way? Or
Oh, yeah,
are
yes,
they,
yes. All our trips includes. We actually prefer include hotels. I mean, we could do it just sightseeing, but we prefer to do everything. But sometimes people have their own like frequent flyer hotels, whatever. But yeah, we do have very, very some hotels which I like personally, and I myself I prefer like boutique 5-star hotels, luxury hotels, and with a local character.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Another popular itinerary, Poland. As for
And this is
Jewish
my
history,
favorite itinerary right here.
yeah, yeah,
Again,
yeah.
I
As
can't
for
say
Jewish
enough about
history,
Poland,
yeah,
how amazing it is. Yeah.
yeah, it's very popular with lots of Jewish heritage there. Unfortunately, concentration camps, Auschwitz, Treblinka,
I love
Krakow.
Krakow. It's so amazing there. I mean, it's more than just Auschwitz. Krakow is such a great
Right,
town.
Krakow is a beautiful city with a
And so is
castle
Dansk.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and Jewish quarter. There's Schindler's Factory. Warsaw is the capital. With it's in the north. It's here. Warsaw. First, it was Jewish ghetto. It has very good Jewish museum. I was there at the opening. It has Jewish ghetto and also Jewish war, not Jewish, but Warsaw uprising in World War II. And then after that, it was Soviet occupation. So it was a quite interesting buildings which are Soviet imposing architecture. Is a huge, like where they diminish the person, but the buildings become like big.
Right,
So
right.
that's yeah. So that's Warsaw. Again, you do need a guide if you want to see like, and plus they have like a beautiful like music, for example, like Chopin. It's associated with Chopin. Gardens. You need a guide for the Jewish tour because ghetto and there were tunnels under the city, so you don't really know
Yeah.
until
Okay,
yeah.
we only
And
have 2 more minutes.
oh,
So
okay, Gdansk on the north, Hanseatic City Solidarity Movement. That's where Lech Walesa. And then World War II started September 139. So and again, so as I said, could be Catholic pilgrimage that as well. Japan through Jewish eyes. That's another country I like and I'm interested in. Chiunya Sugihara, Japanese diplomat in Lithuania who saved Jews in Holocaust. And he helped him with transit visas, so he's considered a hero now in Japan. And there is like a lots of sites, museum associated with Chiunya Sugihara.
okay, that's such a great idea.
Yeah,
Honestly,
and this
I've
is
lived in Japan
not
2 years. So if you have clients that cross over
right,
to the Japanese, gosh,
not too
I'm walking
many.
away with so many good ideas here of how you could cross sell this to so many types, from river
Yeah,
cruises, ocean cruisers, Japanese, Jewish,
yeah, right,
Christians,
right, yeah.
Catholics. There is so much to be had here in your little business.
Yeah, and I'm leading Jewish Heritage Tour to Cuba, April 7, 12. If anyone interested, I need to get no more than 10 people. We spend 5 nights in Havana, have time with Jewish community. We're staying in a luxury Kempinski Manzana and all meals
What
included.
is something like, what is this tour costing people so we can get a price point?
It's Cuba, unlike other destinations, is not cheap because it's humanitarian and effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because we're staying in Kempinski, it's about well, it's on my website. I mean, I could send you a link. I believe it's like 4,700 per person. It's not
Yeah, so
cheap,
it's going
but
to price
that's
higher down there because
right,
Cuba
right, right.
is
Yeah,
so
but I mean, to me,
that might be
we
a trip
still
of a lifetime for some people that want to go
right.
close and
Right.
yeah.
And another thing is, I personally led before COVID and fam trips, and for advisors and for consumers, you could bring your clients. We went to like a lots of countries: Poland, Ukraine, Romania, Baltics, Uzbekistan, Georgia, Armenia, Kazakhstan, and then the people were asking where we're going next. And we formed Facebook community of like-minded people called the Schleppers Club, so we could join it. I'm thinking right now to have in the fall maybe Uzbekistan Jewish heritage trip, so trying to diversify. And there's some pictures again, schleppers and everywhere. We crashed the wedding in Bucharest, schleppers in the mountains. I'm trying to get as fast as I can. We're in Uzbekistan. We
I just
participated.
realized this is a huge topic. We could do this
Yeah, we
again.
participated in a festival parade, and here is we're with in Kazakhstan with Rabayo in Almaty. And food. The schleppers have fun, horseback riding on the central street. That's and sour cherries. Varenikis, or in Poland they call pierogis, pilaf in Central Asia. And there's I just need a few minutes to tell that we love travel advisors. We pay commission. We're very easy to work with. Commission starts from 12% and then grows higher. And we're available 24 hours. Well, I mean, not for the planning, but when your client's traveling, there's somebody is locally is available to take care of clients. Here myself, it's a picture of me on a balloon in Cappadocia, Turkey, where I'm checking my messages.
Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah, and we are licensed.
You should not have been on your phone while you were up there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, my husband said, "Well, look, enjoy." I said, "Okay."
And
Yeah,
you
and
travel from the hot air balloon.
we're licensed, insured, member of IATON. We're a supplier of ASTA. And one more last thing I could tell you: we never solicit your clients. If your clients come back to us, then we'll send back to you. And then,
yeah, so Sophia is a true travel partner. She wants to see you grow. She wants to see her business grow.
Yes, definitely.
She's
I have a special relationship with my travel advisors who book with me. We become friends, and maybe I'll see you in Budapest in a few weeks.
So Sophia Kulich, thank you for being with us. She is the best in heritage travel, in Jewish tourism. So definitely reach out to her, get in her Facebook group, and be watching for future fam trips. Unfortunately, our Ukraine fam trip is sadly on hold. But thanks for coming along on this week's journey of the luxury travel entrepreneur. And you can subscribe over at our YouTube channel, Trips and Ships. And you can also head over to this platform, Luxury Travel Social Media and Marketing, where we are constantly going live. And you can share your thoughts on this episode, ask a question, or let me know what you want to hear next. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, Angela, for having me.
Thanks. Bye-bye.